In the past 5 years, I've won over $300,000 to fund my business, and I did it without borrowing, without giving up equity in my business. And what I want to do is show you step by step what I did so that you can do the same. My name is Arthur Toole. I'm the CEO of Grenada Nut Company, where we sell all natural pain relief. Literally, it's plant-based pain relief. Okay, but we'll get into that later. I know you're probably asking, what's the catch? What am I selling? I want your email address. Honestly, I just want to help you. I want to help you be a good steward of what God gave you to steer. And I want you to avoid the pressure of getting a loan right now when you don't have consistent revenue. I want you to avoid giving up so much equity in your business because you don't have enough revenue. Okay? So if you take these steps, you'll be that much closer to getting some funding to keep your business going until it gets to a stable place. Now, you're probably asking, how do I know if my stuff is any good? All right. 75% of the time when I step foot on stage, I win funds. Again, in the last 5 years, I've won over $300,000. Okay, and I'm on track to do a significant amount of more of that within the next 12 months. So I just want to give that to you. All right. So is that enough of an entry? Do I have your interest? Are you willing to go through it? Cool, because I'm ready to help you. Let's get started. All right, so as I said before, I'm CEO of Grenada Nut Company, but I'm not just a CEO who goes out there and pitch. I also host my own pitch competition. So I see hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of people come in and try to pitch their business to win $15,000, $10,000, $5,000. And I see that they make the same mistakes. The same mistakes I was making in the beginning, people make now. And so if you do this, you'll avoid those rookie mistakes, and it'll exponentially increase the chance for you to be successful. Let me say that again. It will exponentially increase the chance of you winning the funds you need so that you can grow your business. Got it? All right. All right. So we're going to break this up into several sections. Okay. So it'll be what is pitching, 3 parts to every pitch, why people lose, inside the pitch, the pitch template that I use whenever I approach a pitch competition, the sniper format that I do, and then a way to check your form and make sure you're doing what you're supposed to do. Then I've got a little homework for you, and then I'll talk about my annual pitch competition, the Shark Tank, and then where you can go for some coaching, and then if you want to connect. So what is pitching? Now, most people think it's that speech that you get up there and do. You know how you did with like an Easter speech when you were a kid? You know, God is good all the time. No, it's not that. It's actually the exact opposite. It's not an Easter speech. It's more like dating. You're trying to talk to somebody, get to know them, and get them interested in what you have. It's a conversation, a regular conversation, kind of like what we're doing right now, but I can't hear your response. So you want to learn how to just talk to people in a way that makes them attracted to not just you, but to your business, okay? And that's an art to that. And at the end of the day, it really is about connecting to others. When I won the first pitch competition that I won, I wasn't the best company. There were other companies that had already raised A, B, C rounds of funding. If you don't know what that is, that's just they went out there and got funding one time, and they came back later, got funding another time, came back later, got funding the next time. There were others who was in tech space, and in this age, tech is everything. So they had been in business longer, they had made more revenue, but I connected to the judges better, right? And I connected to the audience better. And sometimes that's all it takes. All right, 3 parts to every pitch. So what I want to talk to you about the 3 parts. Most people think it's the stage. I got to get up there on this stage, and they skip everything else. And I'm telling you, if you do that, you're going to lose out not just the pitch competition, but the wonderful opportunities that surround it. Okay, and I want to tell you, every time I pitch, there's a bump in sales because people hear what I have to say. I've connected with them, not just the judges, but the audience, and then it ends up in people at least saying, "Ooh, let me try that." All right, so let's walk through that. The first phase is the application, all right? The actual questions. My name is, my business is, this is what I'm selling. But here's the thing. You don't want to say, okay, I sell underwear, I sell coffee, I sell water. You want to make it attractive. Remember now, you're trying to date the person. So you want to make yourself look as attractive as possible. So forget about the product. What problem are you solving, right? So for MegRelief, which is topical pain relief, we give people their lives back. We help them move again. We empower physical therapists and chiropractors and massage therapists to do their jobs better. See how that sounds much better than, hey, we sell a spray? That you have to answer your questions in that kind of way. I want to make myself more attractive. Truthfully, but you want to make yourself more attractive, okay? The second part is the live pitch presentation, okay? Now, that's when you're going up on stage, but most people don't turn it on their best selves until they get up on stage. What I want you to do is the moment you step outside of your hotel, outside of your house, outside of your apartment, you're on. The car ride there, you're on. When you step out the car, when you step out the vehicle, you're on, because they're all watching and you don't know who's in the audience, okay? So your pitch begins the day of the pitch, all right? Not when you step on stage, all right? And then the last part, and this is what people forget, whether you win or lose, you can still win revenue for your business if you engage. And I don't mean just when you're on stage, but you got to talk to the people in the room. You got to, shake hands. You got to let people get to know you, because they're all going to want to know you, because you were attractive in the application and you were good enough to be selected to come in and pitch. Afterwards, they want to know. And if you told a great story that resonated with somebody, they're going to want to follow up. But if you skip out of there because you lost, they're going to miss out. On my one pitch competition that I hosted, a young lady was really nice, really sweet, and just very engaging up until she lost. And then the moment she lost, she took off, never heard from her again. What she didn't know was that there were other people in the room that wanted to find out more about her, but she wouldn't respond to anything. So she lost out on revenue, she lost out on customers, simply because she got the most important part of the pitch competition, which is the engagement, okay? So when you get ready for your next pitch competition, remember there's 3 parts. You got to sell yourself on the application, you got to sell yourself at the pitch competition, you got to connect with others, and you have to engage with everybody, even your competition, because even your competition can help you be more successful if you let them, okay? All right, now to the next part. All right, so why do people lose? Now, I've seen hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of people pitch, and I've been in many, many, many pitch competitions. And people lose before they even get started because they typically do 4 things. And I know what you're thinking. If I tell you this and everybody else, I'm telling everybody else that's watching this the same thing, does it negate the benefits? No. Reason why is, even though I'm telling you, you're not going to listen. You're going to still do the same old things. And when you lose, you'll think it was something else. But most of the time, it's these reasons, okay? So just take the risk, take a leap of faith, and just don't do these things, okay? All right, number 1, people wait to the deadline to apply. So they'll say the deadline is Friday at 11:59 p.m. Eastern time. And they will wait until, because they wait until the last minute to complete the application, they'll wait till 11:50 p.m. to submit. The problem is that 200 people have already submitted their application, right? And I know what you're thinking. Well, everybody gets a fair chance, everybody gets their application reviewed. I'm telling you, that's not the case. There's too many applicants chasing too few dollars. So what happens most of the time is people just look at the first few and then they gloss over everybody else, especially when they've seen a few that they liked, right? So what you want to do is make sure you get your application in and completed at least 7 days before the deadline, right? Now, if you want to do it earlier, that's even better. But you want to be at the front end of the applications so it increases the chance that your application is actually even looked at. And here's the thing. If you submit on the deadline and you don't get past the application phase, you think that it's because your stuff wasn't good enough. Your stuff could have been amazing, but you were number 735, okay? And there's typically only like 2 to 5 people reviewing the applications. It's not AI, it's human beings. I mean, think about it. If you had to look at 785 applications, would you really give each one of them a fair chance? Especially when half of them submitted their stuff in one time and you got like 3 days to turn it around? No, you're going to look at a few, select those, and keep it moving, because that's what happens. So, at least 7 days beforehand, you will submit your application, okay? Reason number 2, they don't communicate the actual problem that the business solves. So if you say, I sell t-shirts, I'm a brand, no one cares. It's the why. Why should people care about your t-shirt brand? Especially when I can go to Walmart, get a white t-shirt, and then print something on myself. The problem you're actually solving is, hey, we empower people. People who want to, support the military love our "We Love Vets" shirts, right? You're solving a problem. We give the people who love vets an opportunity to show how they love vets by purchasing our shirts. Because when they purchase our shirts, not only do they get the "We Love Vets," they also, a portion of the revenue gets donated to the Purple Heart Association, right? You see the difference? One says, "Buy me because it'll benefit me." The other says, "Buy me, invest in me because I'm investing in others," all right? So make sure you communicate effectively the problem you're solving, and don't get overly hung up on just your product and the features, because no one really cares, right? Do you really care about the ingredients in the honey mustard at Chick-fil-A? No. You just want the honey mustard for your fries, okay? That's it. So don't describe the ingredients in your honey mustard. Just tell them how great it is going to be on the fries. Does that make sense? All right, let's get to the next one. All right, number 3, the reason why people lose pitch competitions is that they don't show how the funds that they'll receive will help scale the business. All right, so even though the judges aren't giving up their own dollars, they want to know that they did well with the dollars that they were able to direct to. Right, so if you come in and say, when I get the funds, I am going to, put it towards marketing, and that's it. Right, that's what everybody says. Okay, what you want to show is, hey, my sales are this, okay, but the bottlenecks are 1, 2, 3. If those bottlenecks were no longer there, my sales will go from here to here, right? See the difference? And so now judges are like, oh, I see the impact for this person, so I want to make sure that I support that. So that's what you want to do. Okay, the reason number 4, they don't have great explanations of how they will use the funds. Right, so you got one that was talking about showing how the business would scale. You got the other that says how you would use the funds. So these are sister problems. You got to show the bottlenecks that you're trying to overcome, that money will help, and then show also how it will scale. So it's not enough to say, I'm going to do Facebook ads. It's going to say, we've done Facebook ads, and when we do Facebook ads, we typically get X number of dollars in sales. So if we get $10,000, we put it all towards Facebook ads. We project we'll get X, right? Or you can say, hey, we are a 2-person team with a $10,000, $50,000, $100,000 award. We'll be able to hire 2 more people on contract, and that will exponentially increase our volume and what we can produce, and thereby increase sales, right? It has to be something that they can see, right? You're doing this with your business. You have these bottlenecks, and this money will eliminate those bottlenecks, which will allow you to scale. That's what you want to do. Got it? All right, let's get to the next thing. All right, so this is inside the pitch. We're going to go through each part of the pitch that you need to make sure that you're including, all right? So I hope you're taking notes. All right, so step 1 of the pitch, on how I pitch in pitch competitions and how I teach people to pitch, is you have to get their attention in the beginning. Remember now, they're going to see a whole bunch of people just like you, each trying to say that their business is amazing, right? And remember, no one cares about your product. They care about the solution, the people you're helping, how you're going to impact their lives, right? So I have one friend that takes wearable technology and is able to assess the health of women, right? That sounds okay, but it's not all that interesting until you say, I have changed the lives of women who were pregnant, and I have saved women from preeclampsia. I've saved women from having C-sections. I've saved women from illnesses and diseases, right? Same woman, same business, completely different story. Okay, but what if you don't have a business yet? What if you don't have sales? Then you do the origin story. You say, this is why I did it. So for the same person, she was the patient. She was the victim. She suffered the trauma of having a challenge in childbirth, right? And then she realized later that had someone been monitoring her metrics, that some of that could have been avoided, right? And so because of that, she wanted to save all the other women out there, and so she started it. So you see how that makes you want to buy in, especially if you're a mom or if you're a dad who was sitting there and had to watch your spouse, your significant other go through a lot of health trauma, right? See, that's what you want to do. Now, let's say, hey, Arthur, I have a horrible origin story. I literally just did this for the money. Okay, no harm, no foul. Then what you want to consider is getting testimonials. Oh, but hey, Arthur, I haven't had any sales. That's okay too. What you do then is you give your product and service away. Okay, you give it away to a bunch of people, let them try it on the condition that they give you a testimonial. Now that would do two things. One, it would get people to give you honest feedback to show you where you can improve. And then two, you got testimonials. And what people like doing is following other people. So you can say, hey, there was one time there was this lady, she was 76, 86 years old. She was always in pain. She tried all these other things that didn't work. And she was limited by what she could try because she had other medication. A lady gave her MegRelief. And not only did it relieve her pain, she was able to get her first night's sleep. And then you go, hey, my name is Arthur Toole, or whatever your name is, and I am saving people's lives by giving them rest, by giving them peace, just like that lady, right? Sounds completely different from I sell pain relief, right? And that's your immediate first thing. And you want to be able to knock that story out in about 30 to 60 seconds. Because remember, most of these pitch competitions are going to be 5 minutes or they're going to be 7 minutes. They typically within that. Some will be 2 minutes, some will be 3 minutes. So you got to hook them in the beginning and then get right to the business, right? So typically after I've done that, then I introduce myself because now I got your interest, I got your eye contact. You put your pencil down, you put your phone down. You're not thinking about the person that was before me. You're not thinking about the person that's coming after me. You're with me. Now let me tell you who I am. My name is Arthur Toole. I'm the CEO of Grain and Nut Company, and this is what we do. All right? Now, after you get past the intros, you want to talk about that one-liner. This is how we're changing the world by giving people their legs back without pain. This is how we're changing the world by giving people their lives back. Grandma can now play with her grandchildren. Grandfather can now pick up his grandkids. The father can now play sports with his daughter or son. The mother can now run around the son or daughter. We're giving them that back. Think about that one-liner that if you only said one thing, that's what they'll remember. And try to stick it there. Now, if it doesn't work for you, you can move this towards the end, right? But you want them, when you walk away, they're like, that's the person that does this. Got it? All right. Then we get into the problem. And you want to make sure you're answering these questions. What is the issue and how big is it, right? Like you got to make sure you're articulating that. Who's suffering with this problem? Why aren't the current solutions enough? And why are you the best option, right? Now, you only have a finite amount of time, but you got to make sure that you're addressing these questions because most of your competition aren't, but the judges are thinking about it. And since most of the competition aren't thinking about it, but the judges are, if you preemptively answer it, that puts you ahead of the competition. All right? There's a reason why I won 75% of the competitions when I stepped on stage. And this is it right here. All right. Next, growth. All right, so it's cool that you got their attention. They know who you are. They know the problem you solve and all this other stuff. Can you grow? Are you going to scale? Because I don't want to give $10,000 to a person that's making $50 this year and will be making $50 next year. What I want to do is give it to the person that may be making $1 this year, but by me giving them this money, they can make $1,000 next year. All right. So in order to do that, you need to know your cost. Okay. How much does it cost to produce? How much does it cost to market? How much does it cost to sell? What are your gross margins? And then how will you handle growth? Okay, so if you grow, what are the pain points? So for MegRelief, it's manufacturing. People are the pain point. I can automate a lot of the stuff, but it's going to cost me like $150,000 to get the commercial level stuff where I can take a minimum of staff to do that. Okay, and that's $150,000 on top of what we've already won to get us here. So as you can see, I'll be pitching for a while. All right. Now, step 5, and this is the part that nobody does. What weaknesses do you have? Now, you don't necessarily have to do this one here, but you need to be prepared for the questions because you might get that Simon from American Idol type judge who wants to be, tough, or you might get everybody that's nice, but I guarantee you they're all thinking about it. I know one time when I pitched David Robinson, the retired basketball player, like it was for $50,000. He sat in front of everybody and was like, I don't see how this is going to scale, right? And I didn't see that coming. But because I had prayed beforehand, God gave me an answer that was so cool that even he had to sit back and be like, okay, yeah, I see it. So you have to be prepared. So what are the weaknesses, right? So for MegRelief, the weaknesses are is that it's a very competitive industry. You know, you got Tylenol, ibuprofen, BioFreeze, Icy Hot, Salonpas, Tiger Balm. You got all those, right? And then you have it's education play. People already have their pain management plans in place, and we're introducing a new thing, right? And we don't have the money to compete, right? It's all natural, so the shelf life on this may not be as long as the shelf life on others. That's another weakness. But the benefit of it, that it gets you relief faster than all the things that I mentioned, unlike prescription drugs, is non-addictive. And then two, unlike the over-counter drugs and like all the other stuff, there are no chemicals in it that can harm your body. Like literally, if you look at the back of Tylenol, right, it could potentially cause harm to pregnant women, right? It can potentially damage the baby, right? They have to put that on there. We don't have that risk, right? So you know the weakness, but you gotta know how to overcome it, okay? What team have you assembled to mitigate your weaknesses? Let's face it, you're an expert in one thing and you dabble in everything else because you have to as a CEO. You need to know what your strengths and weaknesses. Okay? And so what I did was I surrounded myself with people who were smarter than me, physical therapists, occupational therapists, business consultants from the Small Business Development Center, personal trainers, people who were accustomed to working with people with pain. And I ask them a bunch of questions and I keep them around me. All right. So you want to make sure you have that team, that gold team assembled around you. Now, I know what you're wondering. Do I have to pay these people? Well, it's hit or miss. If you're solving something that is in their field that they're also passionate about, they will be there for you in some capacity, and that's what you need. And if they see that you're actually taking action, you're actually making a difference, then most of the time they would continue to support you, especially if it doesn't impede on what they're already doing and you're not a competitor. All right? So just ask. Okay? All right. So that's this. All right. So what I want to do now is, I want you to become a sniper. And not like the whole DC sniper or nothing like that, but I want you to be laser focused on the benefits of your business. And so I have this acronym, SNIPER, which is going to talk about how do you become scalable, how to show need, how to show impact, how to be personable, how to be engaging, and how to make sure that you're relevant. All right, these are the things that you need to have in your package, and get it. I'm going to pause right here. I know this is a lot for 5 minutes, okay? But you can do it. I promise you. You can do it. So just stay with me, all right? All right. So you have to show them how you're going to be scalable, right? And what do I mean by that is you have to show them how you're meeting your current level of demand, and you have to also show them that if you got 10 times the amount of customers tomorrow, how would you meet that, right? And so that means that you need to know the weaknesses in your system, right? How to produce that product or how to produce that service. And then what are you going to do to get around that? Now, if you find yourself saying, hey, I will have to get a loan to meet that, then be honest and just understand that. But you need to have in your head, how do I scale this? Because judges want to award funds to people who are scalable. So if you can't show them how you're going to grow as a result of the funds, then you're going to get passed by with somebody who has an inferior business who can show how they scale. All right. So some of the things you want to consider. If you won the money, would you be able to quickly grow the business with the funds? That's one question. 2, if you died or couldn't work, does the business stop? Like right now in this season, we have a lot of wantrepreneurs, not one like in, but like number one, meaning that they're the only person. They're the CEO, CFO, CMO, they're the social media manager, they're the financial analyst, they're the salesperson, they're the manufacturer, they're everything, right? So, and they have a personality business, which means they built the business around them and people only want to deal with them. So while it feels good, it's limiting because if you remove you, people don't want it. Or if you remove yourself, the business doesn't work. So you want to If you're doing that now, that's fine, but you want to have a plan in place on how you're going to get around that. All right? Is your business foundation complete? Do you have a way to get leads? Do you have a way to then get sales? Do you have a way to fulfill those sales? Do you have a way to follow up on the customers to deepen the relationship? Then you have a way to get repeat business and new sales. Do you have a way to do that? Are you in compliance with any applicable laws for your industry? Right? You want to answer those questions and have that ready. And then do you have the right systems in place, right? And so the best way to do this is to answer the questions I just asked, but also get you a consultant. And you don't have to go and pay somebody to be a consultant. You can go to Small Business Development Center in your area. They will assign you a business consultant for free, all right? And then they'll do a basic review. They're going to make you do a business plan. They'll walk you through, and they'll talk you through some of the foundational things. So you can get the coaching and assistance without paying money. Because let's face it, you don't have any money. I mean, you don't have to say it out loud, because I know we live in this age when no one wants to tell that part, but you probably don't. At least you don't have $3,000 to give to somebody right now when you'd rather put that into your business, okay? So go get that assistance, and then make sure you have the foundational systems in place, and then you'll be able to scale. Got it? Let's get to the next one. All right, need. Now, the funniest thing I've seen is that, well, let me get to the definition first. So, resources or methods an organization required to meet their business goal. Okay. Have you maximized your current resources and capital at your current level? So, do you need the money? We had one guy, amazing idea, but he didn't show how he needed the money. He was just so fascinated with his idea. So when the judges got back, I watched them. They were like, well, he doesn't really need it. So they gave the money to somebody else when he was the better presenter. So how do you avoid that? Can you demonstrate why you need the funds to take your business to the next level? Can you clearly define the next level milestone you're trying to achieve? So one of the things you can do is map out where you are now, map out where you want to get to, and then put milestones in between, right? And then put dollar amounts on the side of how much you will need to get there, right? So that way when they ask that question, you know, or even better, you've explained it already in your pitch. All right, impact. It's the ability to provide the customer an experience that is meaningful and beneficial to them. Notice to them, not to you. No one cares about what the CEO thinks or feels, okay? They don't. They act like they do, but they really don't. They want to be the center of attention. We're a condiment to their main meal, right? So you have to show how we're going to impact their lives, make their lives different. So it's not enough for me to say, I have an amazing pain relief spray. I have to be able to show that when Martha sprayed this on her knees, she got back to playing with her kids, got back to playing with her grandkids, and she didn't have to pop a pill to do it, all right? That's impactful. She couldn't do something beforehand, she can now, right? John has an addiction problem, but he still suffers from joint pain, but he's afraid to take drugs. Now he doesn't have to. He can spray this. Now he can stay away from anything addictive, which has been harming his life, and still can walk tomorrow. See the difference? So how will people's lives be made better as a result of you and your business? That's the question you got to ask yourself, and that answer you have to convey to others. So what is the experience you want to provide your customer? All right? And how are you measuring whether or not you're successful at providing this experience? It's not enough to say, well, they buy again. How are you changing their lives? All right? Is the experience you're providing relevant and meaningful to your customer? You can have an amazing product that does amazing things, but if the customer doesn't care about it, so like if people don't care about popping a pill for pain relief, then it's very difficult to get them to switch from Tylenol to MegRelief. I have to come up with something else because the notion that they no longer have to pop a pill isn't impactful to them, right? But I don't have to worry about it because it takes 30 minutes for Tylenol to take effect. It takes 30 to 60 seconds for them to start feeling MegRelief, right? So I have something. What is yours? All right, personable. All right, so you have to be a person that people want to talk to. So if you're introverted or if you're an extroverted introvert, If you don't like people, or if you're shy, or if you're boring, or if you're stoic, you gotta work through that, because they wanna you go they have to want to like you. All right. So you can't be a jerk. Can't come off as a jerk, but you can't come off as insecure either. You have to be your most confident self, and approachable, and friendly. Okay. Be pleasant. Now, not faking it, but just being open. So make people comfortable approaching you. All right. And are you comfortable being your authentic self on the stage? And the one way you can do that to get to that place is, whenever I have a pitch competition, for the 2 weeks prior to the pitch competition, I do that pitch every day. I get my friends, I get my family, none of which are, well, now a couple of entrepreneurs, but none of my immediate family are entrepreneurs, and I pitch in front of them, right? And the same thing happens every time. They tell me my pitch is boring and it's trash. My family so loving that they feel free to be harsh. But I go back, I retool it and present again, retool it, present again, retool it, present again, till I get it to where they're like, yes, we like it, and we like the flow of how it feels. And so by you practicing over and over and over and over again, it becomes like second nature, and then you can focus on allowing yourself to be free to express yourself. All right. So if you're loud, then be loud, but be loud in a pleasant way. If you are the serious type, then be serious, but be serious in a pleasant way, right? And there's an art to that, but you have to find your own unique style. But you can't just go up there and expect people to open up because you stood on stage, because again, no one cares. All right, so your biggest competitive advantage will always be you and the culture you create, all right? People may steal your recipes, your marketing, your tactics, but they cannot sustainably steal your personality and the culture. All right. So I don't care what your product is. I don't care if you have a trademark, a copyright, or a patent. It will be stolen in some way, shape, form, or fashion, especially if it's good. All right. But what they can't steal is you. All right. So you have to embed or impregnate your business with your personality, with your culture, and then that culture you have to nurture. So everybody that you bring in feels that culture, and they emulate what you're doing, right? And then people fall in love with that. Like, for instance, Chick-fil-A. Chick-fil-A has a culture that everybody likes. Now, if you're Christian or you're not Christian, you don't even care. You like when you go in there and they treat you nicely with respect, and then they say, my pleasure. That's a culture, right? That was manufactured, right? But people love it. The chicken sandwich is good, but it's not amazing. Probably make one better at home. But that sandwich is good, plus they make you feel a certain way, right? Because they're personable, right? Who are you? So that's what you got to ask yourself. What makes you unique and qualified to have this business, right? So what makes you you? Take some time to write that down, and then go to your families and friends and ask them the same thing, and then bring that out. All right. Next one is engaging. You cannot be boring. All right. The worst thing you can do is make the judges bored, because then it's just guaranteed that you lost. All right. So you got to find a way to add some charm, some energy, some authenticity, some humor, something. On one of my first presentations, I had my wife picture in there, and I said, and it was on accident. It was genuinely on accident, but people laughed at it, and it worked. I said, yeah, so my wife and I met in the military, and I tricked her into marrying me. I convinced her to marry me, and everybody started giggling, right? And then what I realized later was that got them more interested in me, and then that led to my win. All right. So what's the best way to be engaging? Well, it's different strokes for different folks, but the biggest thing is to try to connect with people with where they are. Like, if you have the opportunity to find out who the judges are beforehand, then, look them up and see what they're interested in. That would be great. But survey people who use your type of products and services and see what kind of people they are. Are they sports people? Are they not? Are they soap opera people? Whatever. Just find ways to meet people, and then present your stuff in a way that allows them to connect, right? So if you're a doctor, don't use big words. Use regular words, right? If you are, or if you are a programmer, engineer, whatever you are, there's jargon in your industry, okay? That jargon will turn off the audience. So you want to make it to where a third grader, seventh grader can understand the words. That's engagement, okay? How will you show them that you are genuinely interested in meeting their needs through your products and services? You want to be expressing that energy and that heartfelt desire to meet their needs. Okay, not that it's going to blow your business up. No one cares that you become a millionaire. What people care about is that you're helping them. And that's how you be engaging. All right, relevant, right? So, are you building a business that is relevant today, tomorrow, next year, 10 years, right? Remember the fidget spinners? They were all the craze, and then people went out and bought a whole bunch of them from China, and now they're stuck in their garage because the fidget spinner went the way of the dodo bird, right? So, are you the fidget spinner or are you the Tylenol? And I hate saying Tylenol, but Tylenol will always be there. Despite the harmful effects, it will always be there. So is your business going to always be there? And what I will say is, if you're relying on technology to be the thing that keeps your business relevant, then you're at a disadvantage, because if technology is the reason why you're relevant, people will adapt to using your technology if it's your secret sauce, and then you'll become less relevant. So you have to find out why your business is relevant and how it will be relevant in the long term. And the best way to do that is to solve a problem that's recurring. Okay? For me, somebody will always be in pain. They will always be looking for other ways to ease that pain. Right? There'll always be babies born. There will always be people looking for a haircut. There'll always be people looking for getting sick. Right? There'll be these things. Right? So as long as that exists, you can be relevant. All right. So are you providing a product or service that will be needed over the long term? Right? And are you providing an experience that would be needed and appreciated over the long term? So you got the product and service that's going to be needed over the long term. And are you providing an experience that will be that you can sustain, that's needed and appreciated in the long term? Like going back to Chick-fil-A, them saying my pleasure provides an experience that the customer likes, even if they don't realize it on a conscious level. And it's so simple that it can be sustained over the long period of time. You don't want to come out there with something that's so crazy and unique, people start talking to you, and you can't sustain it, right? You just can't do that. All right. So I want you to take some time and incorporate this into your business. Incorporate this into your pitch. Right. This takes time, but once you got it down, you can just turn it on, turn it off. Form check. These parts you have to have in your business, right? These are the things that, if all things being equal, this is what's going to separate you from your competition. Is what do you know about your finances? What do you know about your operations, relationships? In terms of mentors, advisors, partners, customers, and then what are you doing for marketing? You have to have these. But here's some questions, and then I'll include this. There's some questions for each one of these that you're going to have to know the answer to, because you're going to need it for your business, and then you're going to need to be able to convey it to the judges so they know that you know your business. All right, so let's hop into it. All right, finance questions. These are a sample of what you see here is a sample of questions that you'll receive at a pitch competition. So costs. What are your costs to create your product? What are your direct costs? Meaning that the costs that you will incur each time you create that product, that unit, or each time you provide that service. What are your indirect costs? These are the costs that you have if you sell nothing or if you sell 500 of them, okay? And then what are your supplier costs? How much does it cost to get the raw materials that you need to do your business? You need to have these, and like these need to be top of mind. You need to know this like the back of your hand, all right? From a profit perspective, what are your profit margins, all right? So if you sell a product for $100, it costs you $51 to make, then that is $49 of profit. So your profit margin would be the 49 divided by the 100. That would be, your profit margins, okay? Or you could do it the other way, but you get what I mean. And then what's your break-even point, right? So typically when you're starting out at a loss, but at a certain point, if you sell so many, you get past what they call the break-even point, meaning that once you sell one more above that, you're making profit. You need to know that number, all right? Investments. Does your business currently have any investors? Now, that won't hurt you in terms of the business pitch competition. Now, it can hurt you in other ways, but in pitch competitions, you're pretty safe there. How much money have you put into the business? Now, sometimes you get this question, sometimes you don't, but you need to have it. One, because you need to know how much you put in the business, so you know when you finally recouped your costs. Two, it shows that you have that you've been paying attention to the numbers. All right. Okay, operations. So, manufacturing. Are you manufacturing your products, or are you a co-packer? There's pluses and minuses to both. Whichever one you do, you need to make sure you understand the pluses and minuses and be able to articulate that. What are your manufacturing processes? How do you create the widget? Right? Compliance. Are you registered with the state? Are you registered with all required agencies? FDA, USDA, GMP, CNCMP, whatever, ABCD, EFG, right? Are you in compliance with them, right? Because that's important. And some pitch competitions will not award you the funds even if you win if you're not in compliance, right? Fulfillment. How are you processing the orders? So somebody bought it, how are you giving it to them? How are you getting it to them? And how are you managing making sure that you're giving it to them in a timely fashion? How are you fulfilling the orders? How are you communicating to the customer about your fulfillment processes? These are all questions that you need to have. And if you're service-based, you can still flip this and make it a service. So if a person buys your lawn care service, how long does it take for you to get out there and schedule and do the lawn care? In between the time they purchase and the time you actually complete the service, are there any communications between the customer from then and there? These are all things that are important. Once you've completed the service, once you've given them the product, are there any communications or anything else that's needed after that? These are things you have to be mindful of. All right, relationships. Now, I divide the relationships into 3 parts, right? I call it my map. So I usually say, are you tracking on the map? So the M is for mentors. Do you have an advisory board, a group of people who are subject matter experts in their field that know more than you that you can go to when necessary? Have you completed a SWOT analysis to determine who you need to grow? So if you know your weaknesses, then you could build your advisory board around your weaknesses, right? It's a limited benefit to build your advisory board around the area that you're already strong in, right? So we have to set our pride aside and be okay with the fact that, hey, we're weak in this area. Let me get some advisors to guide me. Or I don't have experience in this area. Let me make sure I have an advisor that has experience in that area, okay? Advisors. So you probably heard this before, but do you have bail money? Banker, accountant, insurance, lawyer, right? So banker. I can't tell you the number of times by having a relationship with the bank, especially in the prior business, saved me when it was time to do payroll and stuff like that, right? You need an accountant, right? Because you don't want to fight the IRS because you didn't pay enough in taxes. And you also just want to make sure that your numbers are right, and you don't have a degree in accounting. So hire an accountant, right? If you can't hire an accountant, then use QuickBooks or use whatever, but you need something to track the numbers, okay? And then a lawyer. The moment you get big, somebody's going to take a shot at you. Or if you want to go out there and do a partnership or do an agreement, have a contract with the customer, you're going to want somebody to review it. And you could be something as simple as like a legal shield type organization that you have a relationship with. I'm not selling any of those, but I know these are the things that I've used, and they've helped me at very crucial times, okay? Partners. Do you have the team to help you grow? Again, we all have strengths and weaknesses. You want to have partners that are on the team that are doing the work so that you can grow. And you may not have that yet because you're a startup. You don't have the money. But you need to have the mind for knowing that when I do get some, I'm going to hire this person for this. And then before you get the money, you just map out the steps for that. So when you do hire somebody, they can just jump right in. All right? Do you have skilled people on your staff that offset your weaknesses? Are you on the right road? Meaning that you've been doing everything by yourself, but you want to always be looking at things that you can replicate. Like, so you're the person that goes out and send every email manually. Okay, get your CRM system, have a standard format, and then you can replicate that format out to a bunch of customers with one click of a button. Outsource. There's some things you have to just outsource. So for instance, for this presentation, I don't know how to create a website. So I went to Fiverr, paid somebody a couple of dollars, They created the template that you are now on, and then now we can engage each other. Okay. Automate. So, what can you automate in your business? You can't be doing everything. Can't be manual. So look at the things that can be automated, so that you can get that time back to focus more on the things that will actually grow your business. All right. And then delegate. What can be delegated? What simple task can you delegate to somebody else? Be it, hey, I need somebody to do this particular, like this site, this page. I have somebody do this particular page. I need somebody to go out here and do X. What can be delegated? Because if it's below your level, you need to get rid of it. Even though it's going to cost you money, it's going to cost you money on the front end, but it's going to save you time. And if you take that time and invest it on the things that actually grow your business, you get an exponential return. And then how do you make your customers feel like they're part of the team, right? That's always important. You want them to feel like, not that they own it, but they are part of the journey, okay? Marketing questions. You're definitely going to get hit with marketing questions because they want to know how you're going to make people aware that you exist. So, do you have a marketing plan? How are you tracking results? Do you have a clear and defined milestones? What are those, right? Like if you're currently selling 1 a month, how are you going to get to 2 a month? How are you going to get to 3 a month? How are you going to get to 20 a month? And then what are you using to measure that growth? Is it sales? Is it lifetime value? Is it net profits? What's the measure that you're using and why? Okay. Organic. What organic activities are you doing to grow your business? And I know everybody's trying to talk like organic stuff is dead, but it's just not. It's just not as sexy because it takes longer. The same hand, what paid activities are you using? Which platform are you going to use to promote your stuff? And then you can do both of them and then test over the long term just to sit them side by side. Which one is bringing in more sales and which one costs more or less. So even if Facebook ads or whatever the equivalent is bringing in more sales, but if it's costing you 100 times more, it may not be the net most beneficial. All right, so you want to make sure you have that done. All right, and so that's the form. Okay, you got to make sure you have these things in place. If you do, you're going to be golden in your business and in pitch competitions. For your homework, this is what I want you to do. I've shown you everything that you need in order to make sure that you can be really successful, but you got to get out there and pitch. Don't just take this as some wonderful knowledge and now you got it and you do nothing with it. It only becomes yours, your knowledge, when it's applied. All right, so get over the fear that you're going to screw up and just say, okay, if I screw up, it's cool. And then do it and then get out there. I did not win my first one, right? And it was painful, but I got right back in there and won the second one, right? And so you just keep at it, right? You didn't come out the womb and start walking. You feel a lot. If you would have stopped then, you'd still be crawling on your belly at 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, whatever age you are now, but you didn't. So give me that same effort here for your business. Because if you created this business truly to solve a problem for somebody else, that means their problem exists as long as you're afraid to go out there and sell to them. And you can't sell to them if you don't have the money to do it. And here's a way to get free money to do it. So do you care enough about your customers to go out there and find a pitch competition to do? And do you care enough about your customers to prepare for the pitch competition the way that you now know you need to? Those are the breaks. All right, so here's something that I want to make sure you know. If you are a veteran or the spouse of a veteran or the child of a veteran, I host in partnership with United Way, DC area United Way, and Prince George's Community College, my own pitch competition. We call it the Veteran Shark Tank. We've been doing it for years. First place is $15,000, second place is $10,000, third place is $5,000. We do it every year. So whenever you see this, you can go to dmvsharktank.org. And if you missed this year, it's okay. Save it, and you'll do it next year, okay? All right, now we've come to the end. So just some pointers, right? So when you get ready for a pitch competition, your nerves are going to be fried. I need you to understand that that's normal. The way I get over that is by practicing. When I said earlier in the presentation that I did the pitch every day for 2 weeks prior to the pitch competition, I truly mean it. Because even though I'm seasoned, I still get nervous. And I've presented enough to know, for me, the first 30 to 60 seconds, I am really nervous. But then after about that 45-second, 50 mark, I don't know, I just take a breath and I go. And then you realize the worst thing that can happen is that you don't win this one. But if you don't win it, do what I did. You go to the judges and say, listen, why didn't you pick me? What could I do to be better? And not why did you pick me from an anger perspective, but it's like, I missed something. Can you tell me what? That's what I did when I lost the first one. And the lady told me. I quickly adjusted and I won the second one. All right. What other secret can I share with you? Commit to finding pitch competitions every week. Matter of fact, I got something for you in the special section. So make sure you check that out. All right, here we go. Last section, okay? What I want you to do is, because I look for pitch competitions all the time, I want to share them with you. So I have a page that is I Find You Pitch. I'm placing all the pitch competitions that I find there. You can just go there and then just check it out. If you like it, apply. Why am I doing this when I'm also pitching? Because I believe one thing. If God meant for me to win it, then you can't beat me. And if he meant for you to win it, I can't beat you. And there's millions upon millions, over $20 million worth every year that I find, right? The problem is not enough people are pitching. So it's the same people going to these same pitch competitions. So someone else is taking your money right now because you won't get up there and pitch. So go to I Find You Pitch. It's just a page on this site. Matter of fact, if you scroll down to the bottom, you'll see it. Just click it, look there, see what you like, and go after it. All right? All right, that's it. Like I told you, I don't have anything to pitch or sell. I am on my journey to transition MegRelief from something that only a small group of people know about to being one of the top, being the top 3 pain relief products in the world, right? And what I want to do is share with you my journey so that you understand that 1, you're not alone, and 2, that you can do it, right? You can do it without borrowing. You can do it without giving up equity. You can do it without, even with, past mistakes, public mistakes, big mistakes. You can do it if you trust in God, that you trust that God gave it to you, then trust that He can give you, or He's already planned to give you all the things that you need. All right, that's all I have. Get to it. I guess if you want to follow me, you can follow me on Instagram. I post sometimes I post the pitch competitions there, and I also share my journey on what I'm experiencing, how I'm trying to go through it, like what I'm trying in marketing, and I share the results, so that way you'll know that you're not alone. All right.